was disappointed by this finale? What the heck? Hey there, it's Kristen, and today we are talking about the High School Musical, the series Season 2 finale, Season 2, Episode 12. The Wildcats are headed to Slice's after the Beauty and the Beast opening night, and Miss Jenn still has tunnel vision when it comes to the Menkies. Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and drop down in the comments and let me know your thoughts on this season, and where you think that we're gonna go in Season 3. So I have to say, I was really disappointed by this finale. Was I the only one? I just figured, you know, the way that we ended last episode on like a to be continued, we know that Lily took the harness that Ricky was supposed to use for the transformation. I was expecting to actually see that transformation and what they ended up doing, and instead we jumped to the end of the show, it's over, and everyone's just backstage like, alright, we did it. I was like, okay, but we didn't get to see Big Red perform. I wanted to see maybe some tap dance and LeFou. We didn't get to see Ashlyn in her beautiful bell gown. We didn't even get to see the Beast transformation. I was just disappointed. I was hoping we were going to see more of the show. The last episode also kind of had everyone going in a little bit of a different direction, and we get to follow up on that in the finale. So like Big Red, for instance, not only was he nauseous the entire show, but he was also working on some secret project, and it's like, okay, well, what's this secret project? And it turns out he made this like name and light sign for Ashlyn, which was cute, but also kind of felt a little bit random. How he talks to Courtney and she's like, tell me what the deal is, and he says that, you know, he's just blown away by her, he's nervous, you know, he's never felt this way before and he really likes her, which I appreciated, but also, I don't know, I still feel like there's a little bit something more going on there. Like, some of the faces he was giving was not just, oh wow, Courtney's incredible, but like, maybe I'm hiding something. Maybe it's just that they haven't revealed yet who exactly was involved in this North High deception. So while I like that things are working out for them, I don't know, I'm still a little bit suspicious going into Season 3 that maybe it will turn out how he was involved in Lily stealing this harness, and maybe he knew about it. Mr. Mazzara also got a phone call last episode in the middle of the show, and it turns out that he's been recommended by EJ and EJ's father for a Caltech's doctoral robotics program, which is really awesome, and I think it just shows that like EJ wanted to give back to Mr. Mazzara the way that Mr. Mazzara helped him this season, which I thought was really sweet. I'm still hoping that EJ ends up going to Caltech, but now there's sort of like this triangle of like, will Mr. Mazzara go to this school, or will he want to stay because he wants to be with Miss Jenn? In this episode he finally reveals to her, you know, how he feels basically, and she looked happy, but she didn't really say anything back. This episode Ricky also gives Miss Jenn the okay to date his dad if she wants to, so now Miss Jenn is gonna have these two options, which I'm just like, forget about Mike, nobody cares, let's just have her and Mr. Mazzara together. But now that becomes a little bit more difficult when, you know, he might go off to Caltech. Nene and Ricky have their little moment back in that same room where they had a moment at the end of opening night for High School Musical, and it's definitely an interesting parallel because at that point they were getting back together, and in this it's kind of like they're moving on. I get the moment, I just think that maybe I don't care as much about Nene and Ricky at this point, but we do get to see a really nice moment between Nene and Gina, which I really liked. I wasn't really expecting them to actually sit down and talk, but they kind of go through everything. They talk a little bit about the Valentine's chocolates and how it doesn't really matter, and now it makes sense why we were introduced to Gina's brother Jamie, who's a music producer, because Gina is connecting him with Nene to help take her music to the next level. So I'm like, that actually sounds really cool. Like, I want to know what that's gonna be like. Maybe he'll really be able to help her. Maybe that means Jordan Fisher will make another return to the show, and who knows, maybe we'll get a duet from them, which would be really cool. Miss Jenn is still being wild this episode, and I think she is putting a little bit too much pressure on that idea of competing and winning, when really this whole group of people just care about their friendship and family that they've formed through the last 2 semesters of school doing these musicals. So when they finally get the Menkies nominations, they decide, we don't care, let's just drop out of the competition, which I was honestly really disappointed by. I just feel like you've already done the performance, like, you've got the nominations right in your hands, like, just continue. Like, why are you giving up now? Like, I know that you don't care anymore, but like, then what's the harm? Like, I wanted to know who got nominations. I wanted to know who would actually win this. Even though they didn't care anymore, I was still kind of invested in that. Although, to be honest, I don't really know why I was, because I didn't feel like they focused on that as much in this season. You know, they brought up this idea of, oh, we have to do Beauty and the Beast for the Menkies, and we got so many filler episodes this season, it felt like they were barely rehearsing, but, you know, by the end I still did want to know. It felt like this episode had been really rushed and a little bit pointless in a way, because we didn't get to see any more of the performance. They're giving up on the competition, and then we get these cliffhangers that I think they could could have at least given us a couple of resolutions. So these cliffhangers include Nene calling Jamie to maybe set up something musically, which I'm excited to see that move forward. Ricky calling Lily, which I think is a huge mistake, and I already have a couple of theories of maybe what could go on there, but we'll get into that in a minute. EJ and Gina finally connecting, sort of though. You know, like, EJ has been weird this whole episode to Gina because he thinks that she just sees him as a brotherly figure, as her brother Jamie told him. He breaks off the date with her, she's very upset. That's kind of when we see her bonding with Nene a little bit. And then Ashlyn talks to her and is like, oh, like, I wish you had said that you see EJ as just a brother, because, you know, that would have taken things in a different direction. And she's like, what are you talking about? And she races outside to stop him and is like, I want you to be my first kiss. And I was like, oh my god. And then you just see them running towards each other and then it ends. And you don't see a kiss, you don't see anything. And I'm like, what kind of cliffhanger is this? Now I'm like, okay, is this like some type of weird dream sequence? I just feel like the fact that they didn't give us that moment feels like something's going to interrupt it. When it comes to Lily and the French exchange student crashed the East High cast party for a few minutes and they kind of chat with Ricky and talk about second chances, and it's like, Lily, what second chance do you deserve? You literally stole this harness and tried to interfere with their show and they still don't even know about it, you know? So I feel like that's something that could potentially come up in season 3 is, you know, maybe Ricky is reaching out to Lily, maybe they're gonna start dating, and it will slowly be revealed in season 3 that she was the one that messed with their show. And hey, maybe that Howie was involved, I don't know. I feel like the way that they're setting up the 3rd season with some of these cliffhangers and the fact that they're talking about the fact that it's going to be summer for season 3 makes me feel like this could be the chance to go back to those High School Musical roots. Maybe we'll get like a High School Musical 2 vibe where they're working at Lava Springs. Maybe Lily will be the Sharpay, if you will. I could see her singing Fabulous while Ricky's like with her at Lava Springs. I just really hope that they go back to those High School Musical roots. First season I felt was really strong. I loved all of the connections between moments that happened in the, you know, beginning of the season to the end of the season. They did really great parallels there. Also, they had really great references to High School Musical. We even got some cameos in there, and I just really loved that. Whereas in this season, it kind of felt a little bit all over the place. It felt like there wasn't even that much music this season. Like this episode, the only song that we get to see, which was a great song, was Second Chance, which was sung by EJ, Gina, Nene, and Ricky, and I loved it. It was great. They also did a nice little throwback moment in there to the first season. It really gave me chills as they went through their lines and sort of around, like, we gotta begin again, I'm safer when I'm on the run, I'm trying to find who I want to be. I thought that they did that song really well. I just was hoping for a little bit more music. We get a snippet in the end credits of You Are the Music in Me, which was cute, but again, that was like in the end credits. You know, I would have liked to see a little bit more High School Musical brought to the show overall. But again, maybe this is hinting. We Are the Music in Me is from High School Musical 2. Is that the direction we're going for the summer? Will we finally get to see a full-on performance of Bet On It by Ricky? That would be pretty cool. When it comes down to it, I really like this cast. I think that there is so many more places they could go with this show. I just don't think that this season was as successful to me as the first season. I think it got a bit muddled with so much romantic drama and not really a focus on the musical and just too much, you know, trying to sabotage each other. And then when it came down to it, it felt like it sort of went nowhere. It was very much an anticlimactic ending. So much so to the point where I had to like look it up. I'm like, is this actually the finale? This is the last episode of this season? Because it felt like there was supposed to be more. What did you think about this season, this finale? If you like this one, you can check out more of my High School Musical, the Musical, the Series videos right over here, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.